Hi,
Hi,
Sydney.
how are you?
Wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well.
So, where are you coming out of?
Santa Rosa, California, so Sonoma County, right in the heart of wine country.
Very nice. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. Yeah, I'm landlocked here in Kansas City, so no oceans, no mountains. Anytime I'm out there, it's always eye candy.
Yeah, it is very nice. We're pretty fairly close to the ocean, I would say, but I've heard really great things about the Midwest and that whole area as well. So I'm sure it's beautiful in its own way.
Yeah, Kansas City's surprising. A lot of people don't peg it as kind of being an arts hub, and there's a lot going on here. It's good. Yeah. So,
That's
and,
awesome.
and Patrick Mahomes made it a little better, I guess. So, good.
Good.
Well, hey, before we get into your life and your work, I want to know the last 3 years with COVID was quite a thing that we all had to survive. How did you make it through
Mhm.
that time period and how did it change you?
Wow, so many ways. Really the way that I made it through that, I think was just my perspective. I think that we can all do as much as we possibly can to keep ourselves safe and keep our loved ones safe. But at the end of the day, just changing the perspective on I'm so lucky where I am right now, in my home and working from home. And unfortunately, my husband was not able to work from home. So that was a little scary, especially as I was pregnant in 2021, the beginning of 2021. And so going through my pregnancy and early motherhood with an infant, when it was still pretty scary, was not easy by any means.
Right.
The ways that it changed me, I think, are many. I think that just having the time instead of spending most of my day commuting to work and to an office, having more time for myself and really figuring out the things that I enjoy doing outside of work, figuring out who I am on a deeper level, and um, really just trying to understand and figure out where my life is going and what I want it to look like what I want my day to day to look like. And I think we kind of all had the space and the time to do that during COVID.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is as much as we all got immersed with movies and TV and music and all of that, we realized we needed the connection, but we didn't necessarily have to drive and do these things. Like for therapy
Mhm.
appointments, my son's on the spectrum. So to get loaded up, to go to an appointment, to do the appointment that he wouldn't be there that long for, and then to drive back was just so much
Mhm.
expended energy that can be done via this. It just makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so happy that the world has almost in every industry been able to find ways to do things more virtually because
Yeah.
like you said, it gives everyone the opportunity to do a lot more than they could have done before.
Yeah. So you have a lot of things going on. And to get to the essence of it, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day. And one of the kids looks up and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I would say that first and foremost, I identify with being a writer.
Mhm.
So, and that comes in many different forms. My corporate position was in public relations, and I still do that in the fine wine space. So, I help international wineries all throughout the world with their PR strategy in the US market. But PR, a lot of people don't know this, but PR is very, very primarily writing heavy. I
Yeah.
mean, whether you're writing pitches or emails or social media content, whatever it is, it's very much writing focused. I
Yeah.
also am writing a book. So
Nice.
I very much identify with a writer.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say I'm a content creator. I create content on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube mainly, and it's really about helping mothers and almost mothers, those who have struggled with trying to conceive or fertility treatments, those types of things. I help them cope, and then also figuring out how to lean into like mindful motherhood and entering a completely new stage of life. So I
Yeah.
would say writer slash content creator.
Yeah. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
I think I wanted to be a veterinarian,
Yeah.
actually. But I actually am not very good with blood or
Right.
anything like that. So I don't think that that would have worked out well for me. But I love animals so
Yeah.
much. So helping animals was the inspiration.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of animals?
I have one dog, a
Okay.
rescue dog. Yeah, he's a little Maltipoo type dog, a little white curly dog, and he is the biggest diva. He runs the household,
Yeah.
or did, I should say, until we had a baby.
Yeah.
And now he's very upset at his change of power, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
he's
they get
sweet.
really weird about stuff like that for sure. So,
Yeah.
let's go back to the beginnings of your life and how you became a writer and how you became who you are today. Take me back to where you're born and raised, the seeds. What gave you this interest in writing?
So I grew up in a very small town in the Central Valley of California. So if you looked at a map of California, it's right smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
And it's a very heavy agricultural area. And a lot of people don't know that about California is it's very heavy agricultural focused.
Mhm.
I mean, there's over 300 commodities that we raise and produce. I was in FFA, Future Farmers of America, in high school. And
Yeah.
so I raised pigs and cows and all of that. But yeah, a lot of people don't know how much produce comes from California. If it was
Yeah.
its own country, it would be number
Mhm.
6 in the world for
Yeah.
agriculture. So really, really cool. But the area that I grew up in is primarily almonds.
Mhm.
And I think that just having that really simple way of life as my foundation has really supported me through everything that I've been through every project or career success that I've had. I think that having my foundation of being very family focused, my really strong moral compass, really strong values and integrity, and that kind of shapes every single thing that I do
Yeah.
moving forward. I loved the way I grew up. It's a very sleepy town, nothing to do, but
Yeah.
you make it work. And then I moved to Los Angeles for college
Mhm.
and I majored in public relations. I actually have a minor in fashion.
Okay.
And I started my PR career in fashion PR in Beverly Hills and quickly realized that that was actually not the right career path and industry for me.
Yeah.
So, very shortly after that, I fell into wine. I got a job up here in Sonoma County for, the biggest wine brand in the world. And here we are now,
Wow.
10 plus years later.
Yeah, that's great. I in high
Mhm.
school, I had a job in a produce department at a grocery store, and I didn't have any idea where all the produce came from, but everything was from California. I mean, all the apples came from
Mhm.
Washington, but all of the other things was primarily from California, and I didn't realize that until then. So, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So,
is. I mean, even the dairy too, like the milk and wine grapes too, table grapes too, of course. But
yeah.
almonds, there's so many things, and then of course the regular produce. But there's
Mhm.
a lot that comes from here, and
Yeah.
people from other areas of California don't even know as well. When I was in Los Angeles, they were like, "What do you mean you're from a country town?" I'm like, "Well, you haven't been there, but I." I swear
Yeah.
it is. And I had brought some friends up to visit, and my parents, their neighborhood, there's like a one-lane road, and on the other side, it's just all cornfields and back roads. And they were
Yeah.
like, "Why is there a cornfield across the street from your parents' house? And why are we stuck behind a tractor?"
Yeah. That's wild.
I'm like, "This is the country."
Yeah, and I think the confusion for everybody else around the country is that there's just not a lot of rain. But you're talking about Central
Yeah,
Valley, you're talking about it's in the other regions. So people are like, "Well, how does that work if there's no rain?" But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
California is huge. It's just there's so much
Mhm.
land, you know.
So much land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about heroes. Who's been a hero for you in your life?
Hmm. I would say the person that comes to my mind is my dad, actually, and my mom as well. But my dad has the strongest work ethic of anyone that I've ever met. He
Mhm.
has been working since he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And when my mom had me and my two brothers, he was working two jobs. He worked in construction. He was working in, and still does, but works in pool plastering. And so during the day, he would be plastering pools. It's, very difficult manual labor. And
Yeah.
in the summer times, like in the pool before there's water in it, it's 10 plus degrees hotter than
Yeah.
outside. So it's like 110, 120 degrees manual labor. And then he would, clean facilities at night so that my mom could stay home with us. And he is just he has worked his way up from that point to now running the whole company that he has worked for, and has done that since I was about in high school.
Yeah.
But I think just seeing that work ethic, and this is where you can go in a short amount of time if you just put the work in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get to where you want to go. Things are not just going to fall into your lap. You have to work for them, but also you have to make sure that you are, in the best way that you can, prioritizing family
Yeah.
and understanding what's really important. So for my parents, it was my mom staying home with us, and us, you know, being with her all day. So I would say that he is someone that really sticks out in my mind as a huge inspiration. I mean, he, of course, he's my hero. He's
Right.
my dad, and I love him so much.
Yeah. So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would it be?
Hmm. That's a great question. I would have to say, I'm thinking about it because I
Yeah.
want it to be a
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
answer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
um, Someone that I'm really have looked up to for a while is Gabby Bernstein, and
Yeah.
she is a best-selling author of many books.
Mhm.
She has helped open my eyes to a lot of just universal principles and changes in perspective on the world and where we come from and why we're here and
Yeah.
all of these things, and gave me kind of a new perspective on life.
Yeah.
And she's a writer. She actually has a PR background as well, which is very interesting. And
Yeah.
so I feel like we have a lot of parallels, and I would love to sit down with her and just speak with her for even 10 minutes and
Yeah.
pick her brain.
Yeah. So speaking of being inspired by writers, what was the first book that you read that really either made you want to write or made you want to read more?
The book that's coming to mind is a Shel Silverstein book when I was a child,
Mhm.
and the name escapes me. It has, like, the big apple tree on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, The Giving Tree? Wait,
The
no.
Giving Tree.
The
Yeah,
Giving
I
Tree.
think
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I feel like that's the first book that comes to mind that actually evoked emotion
Yeah.
in me, and that's really what I strive to do in my writing and my books as well. I mean, that's how we connect. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier, I mean, that's so important, and if you can't connect and you can't evoke emotion, then what is your writing
Right.
saying?
Yeah. So
Mm,
the thing about being a writer is that you don't get to a point where you're really comfortable. Like early on, you're not. It's kind of like the first season of Seinfeld. It's kind of
mhm.
clunky and weird, and then it takes off.
Yeah.
So, what was the first piece that you wrote where you were like, "I've arrived. This makes sense. This is what I want to do."
I think that it was when I started a blog, and I had started this blog several years ago, probably in 2017 or something, and then I took a break from it for a while, but it wasn't even what I was writing about. I think it was just that I gave myself permission to completely be myself in my writing. And it's
Yeah.
silly and it's playful and it's fun and it evokes emotions as well, but they're,
Mhm.
emotions of happiness or lightheartedness or, you know, laughter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And with my PR career, that is very structured. And I do enjoy that type of writing as well, but it's very, it is storytelling, of course. And
Mhm.
magnetic writing is very, very important when you work in PR. But I just totally let all the rules go
Yeah.
and almost wrote as if I was having a conversation with someone,
Yeah.
and people seem to really resonate with it, and that's kind of the tone of my book as well. It's very conversational. It's not super stringent. It's, "Hey, this is," and my book is actually about coping with infertility, and
Yeah.
so it's, "Hey, I've been through this too. I know exactly where you are. Here have been my experiences, and these are the things that helped me along the way."
Yeah.
So I think you can kind of have a mixture of both, where you do evoke emotion and you do, write in your own voice, in your own conversational tone, but also have that structure of saying, but here is what I did. These are
Yeah.
the practical things that I did, um, and structured in that way.
Yeah, it's kinda like the right and left brain, it's not just one
Mhm.
side or the other, you get to kinda commingle. So, what is the motivator for you every day to do your job, to accomplish what you wanna get done? What is that for you?
I would love to lift help lift the consciousness of, and take that any way that you
Sure.
that you want. Some people are not super spiritual, and
Right.
I totally understand that, but I would love to lift the consciousness of the women who are trying to conceive, who
Mhm.
are going to be moms, whether that's to babies or if that doesn't work out to projects, whatever that is, as well as the moms who are raising small children right now, because when we're doing that, then we can actually impact the future generation of our world. And what's more important work than that?
Right. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. So, what's been your best feedback that you've gotten from the work you've done? Fan letter, client response, something that always puts a smile on your face.
I have received a lot of social media comments from women who are going through fertility treatments or are about to. And I have a unique perspective because regardless of how our fertility treatments would have worked out, we did end up going through IVF after 2.5 years
Yeah.
and have a beautiful 18-month-old son now. He's just the light of our lives. We love him more than anything.
Yeah.
And even if that wasn't the outcome, I still had a really, really positive IVF experience, which is almost unheard of
Yeah.
in that space. I mean, every time that you're looking anywhere, it's all, and of course, because it's medical and you can never predict those types of things. And so, of course, not every story is going to have a happy ending. But even again, without the outcome,
Yeah.
I was in such a good mental place when we started that no matter what would have happened, I would have come out at the end of the day saying that I had a positive experience.
Yeah.
So when I've shared that, and given some motivation, like it's completely possible to have a positive experience, and if you keep going, you're so much stronger than you think. I've had so many women write to me and tell me their personal stories, and I have my egg retrieval coming up, or I'm going through IVF, or I have this and this and this. And your words really helped me. I needed to hear this today. I'm you know 39 and going to go through this again, and I really needed these words of encouragement. And so that, I mean, lights me up more than I can even ever say,
Yeah.
especially when we're talking about something as fragile as fertility and having children
Yeah.
when it's difficult. The I don't even think that they know how much that impacts me and how much I love to hear their stories. It's really, it like lights my soul so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when you get into that kind of group, because not everybody experiences that, you start feeling
Mhm.
alone. There's
Mhm.
this level of you that needs some kind of community because you get so close to it too. So if you have a
Yeah.
voice out there that can resonate with what you're going through, it just makes it a lot easier. It's just that human community of empathy that's necessary. Um, so what's the best advice that you've ever gotten from somebody that's resonated, that's really worked for you in your life?
As far as fertility treatments or just in general?
Just in general, something that's really made you grow, that's made you, and it could be it could be any realm of your life.
Mm. The first thing that comes to my mind, and this actually does pertain to fertility and really anything that someone is struggling with, but the best piece of advice I think that I've gotten is just ride the wave. When these things happen, whatever they may be, that are traumatic or challenging or difficult to deal with, we have to make sure that we are riding the emotional wave and we're just okay with what's going to happen.
Yeah,
We are letting our emotions flow through us because we all have had those times in our lives where we just feel completely clenched up. We feel it in our chest, we feel it in our stomach, we feel it in our throat, wherever we feel it, and we kind of walk around clenched up
mhm,
from these emotions that we don't want to feel. But I think that if we can just take a deep breath and let the wave of emotions wash over you. It's almost like when you have a really good cry and you don't necessarily like it in the moment, but afterwards you feel so much better.
sure.
If we can just allow that to happen all the time, even with small things, and we ride the wave, we realize, okay, now I'm on an up, now I'm on a down, now I'm on an
Mhm.
up. And
Yep,
that is just life. We
yep,
can't enjoy life without the highs and the lows. And that's what makes life such a beautiful dance is we have the amazing moments and we have the not so great moments. And that's exactly the point.
yeah, for sure. So, what of everything that you've done in your life up to this point, what are you the proudest of?
My son, absolutely, I'm proudest of. And I think along with that, the mindset that I had during such a tumultuous process,
Yeah,
I was so at peace during my IVF cycle, and to the point that my friends and family were like, "We've never seen you this calm."
Mhm. Yeah,
And so that is something I'm extremely proud of, and then I would also say the book that I'm writing right
yeah,
now, I am so proud of it. Don't have publishing experience, and I just decided this is something I'm going to do. I put together, a 50-page book proposal. I wrote my sample chapters. I am, I'm just going for it because
sure.
I feel like I truly can't leave this earth without sharing the things that helped me get to that point. So I feel extremely proud of myself that I was able to get to that feeling of peace and inner knowing and contentness before I had what I so desperately wanted, which was a
Yeah,
family of my own.
yeah, for sure. So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a much younger version of yourself, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained up to this point. What would you tell that young version of you?
Well, first of all, I would give her a huge hug,
Yeah,
a huge, huge hug, and I would just tell her that the challenging times in life and all of the things that you're going to go through now and even, from now forward, those are the things that shape you. Those are the things that make you who you are. Had I not had that experience, I mean, so many good things have come from it, regardless of what would have happened. I could, talk forever about that. But no matter what the outcome would have been, I learned so much about myself. And I feel like I became a better mom. I
yeah,
became a better wife. I became a better friend. I have so much compassion and so much empathy for everyone, in the whole world,
yeah,
truly.
sure.
And I don't know that I would have been able to get there. I don't know if I would have had this type of personal growth had I not had those challenging experiences. And we hear it all the time. People say, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't gone through, XYZ difficult times in my life.
Yeah.
And that's how we grow. That's how we evolve. That's how we become, something rare. So that's what I would tell my younger self, along with, like I said, a very big hug.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, first and foremost. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you're the one in control. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Hmm. I believe that I am someone who is extremely nurturing
Mhm.
in all ways. I believe that I am very kind and warm-hearted, and but also, I don't take BS either.
Right.
So I hope that I have a good mix of that, but I mean, overall, like, the overarching theme of me, in my opinion, is nurturing, and I think my friends and family would agree with that. I love to take care of everyone, and sometimes at the risk of myself, but I'm working on that, especially in motherhood. It's been a little bit more difficult to
Yeah.
prioritize myself and what I want, but I'm working on it.
So, excuse me. So, Sydney, if anyone wants to learn about the book that's coming out, anything that you're doing, writing, your life, anything, where do they go?
So you can find me at sydniehamby.com, SydnieHamby.com. And then my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are the same, just my name, Sydnie Hamby, SydnieHamby.
Excellent.
And you can also find me, actually, I'm sorry,
Oh,
one
no,
more
you're
place
good.
you can find me is my husband and I actually have a wine brand as well. So you can find me
Okay.
also at hambysellers.com.
Right on. Man, you're busy. This is great,
Oh, I know.
Sydney. Yeah, that's good though. It keeps
Yes,
everything fresh. Yeah. Sydney,
right.
thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story and best of luck with everything. Best of luck with the book.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
See ya.